We gotta show love to Byron Donalds. He he could be the vice president. My first choice is Vivek. Okay. My second choice is Byron Donalds. Okay. But he's got a lot going on. Let's listen to him talk. All right. Because if he's the VP, you're gonna have to see his face all the time. Oh, that would be fair. Either way, you're gonna have to see his face all the time on this channel. Okay. We got love for Byron Donalds. All right, let's go.
Recognizes the gentleman from Florida who I have read is on the short list to be potentially the next vice president of the United States. Mr. Donalds, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Regan,
You earned it
for being here.
Here.
Earlier this year, the DC Circuit, the DC District Court here, actually invalidated EPA's designation that allowed the state of Florida to process Clean Water Act permit applications, a process that's been in place for the last 3 years. Our concern, obviously, in the Sunshine State is that EPA agreed to essentially give us primacy in going through that permit process as opposed to having to go through the Army Corps of Engineers. In short, does the EPA still stand beside the decision to give the state of Florida primacy with respect to proceeding with 404 permits for the Clean Water Act and Endangered Species Act?
I believe that is the case, but let me circle back before I give you a definitive answer on where we are with that process.
You believe you're still with us, or you're not? I want to make sure I get it.
Yeah, I believe we are still following what the court has told us we should do, which I know there was a court ruling and I know there was some consternation there. So let me circle back with you to see exactly where we are on that case.
Okay. The reason why I bring it up, and it's important for our state, since we've taken over that process from the Army Corps, permit applications have, in terms of time, have decreased from roughly around 2 years to 6 months. Obviously, the Sunshine State is, if not the fastest growing state in the country, one of the fastest growing states in the country for a myriad of reasons. So our ability to process these permits, where yes, we do have a lot of waterways that are critical to the ecosystem of Florida. We take that very seriously in my state. But I think it's important that whether it's Florida or any other state that has that flexibility, that you do have state administrators and state personnel with respect to environmental protection who do take this incredibly seriously, and being able to partner with EPA in order to be able to still process these applications that are important for our economy as well as our environment. That's something critical for us going forward. I hope that the EPA agrees with that.
Absolutely. And as a former state regulator, I definitely understand the importance of the delegated authority. And I believe how we got to this situation where there were some concerns about the administration of the program. And I don't know if we resolved those or not, but I think the court has spoken on that. And so I'll circle back with you to see where we are on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I want to switch gears. Obviously, the EPA came out with the Clean Power Plan 2.0. My concerns are with a couple of things, but primarily 60% of all electricity generation in the United States comes from coal and natural gas. Under the EPA's Clean Power Plan 2.0, essentially coal will be regulated out of existence, and there will be additional burdens put on new natural gas plants that may or may not come online in the United States. Considering your previous statements about wanting to make sure in this hearing that nobody in our country is left behind when it comes to having a clean environment and a clean water, clean air, et cetera, for our citizens. Isn't it also a concern that if that plan goes into effect and the power generation that we typically use right now would go away, that electricity prices would skyrocket on poor families, whether they may be Black families, Hispanic families, white families, that their costs would go up exorbitantly under that same plan? Wouldn't they be left behind by the Clean Power Plan?
Well, we spent a lot of time with the industry, with the grid operators, and here are the facts from our vantage point. Number one, these control technologies don't have to be put in until 2020, 2031, 2032. So we're talking about some time down the road. Number two, all of our cost estimates say that the actions we're taking will only potentially increase price by less than 1%. And number three, that the approach we're taking, because of the diligence that we've done, will not have any impact on reliability. To the point we were just discussing, this national rule is delegated to the states, and each state will design a state implementation plan that gives it flexibility on how it reaches these goals.
Administrator, I gotta cut you down because we've got 20
Yes,
seconds,
sure.
congressional hearings. I'm gonna respond with this. Whenever we get information from experts who say that costs will be contained in a certain strata, that typically is not the case. Even with the tax credits with the Inflation Reduction Act, CBO said it would cost about $260 billion. Wall Street is saying the value of those credits is upwards of 1.3 trillion and higher. So when you say that essentially regulating out coal and some aspects of natural gas in the United States will only lead to a 1% increase in electricity costs, that simply does not add up. And at the end of the day, whether it's 2024 or 2032, it is poor people in this country who are going to be left behind by that type of proposal. Chairman, I'm over my time. I'll go back.
You know,
Mr. Chairman.
I mean, compare. Okay. The man. Listen to what he says. I don't understand how this is so difficult. We need more Byron Donalds. That's what we need. Let's go. VP, if he gets it, he'll win.